Alright, so this is going to be my review of the Outback. Now to me it seems like a pretty solid car. It holds up pretty well, especially around turns. It still handles pretty good for the age that it is. But with Subaru quality for the interior, I'm not so impressed. The doors are pretty soft leather, but the rest of the car, the dash and all of that, and the center console is still that hard plastic. But it is an old car and it is Subaru. It definitely doesn't drive like my STI or my WRX, but it is a Subaru, so the all-wheel drive system in the snow times definitely got to be good, especially in this car still. Even with there being 200,000 miles on this car, it still runs phenomenal. The throttle response is still good in the car, and so is the steering wheel. There's no play in the steering wheel. The braking's good. There's good brakes on it, but that has nothing to really do with the car. That's just how hard you drive it. But the seats sit you pretty comfortably. There's some pretty good bolsters on the side that'll keep you in place if you're not a very big person. But if you're a big person, then I don't think you'll be able to stay situated very well. But the cluster still lights up pretty well. It's pretty outdated, but it is the age of the car. The AC still works. It blows out cold air. The radio, it's just a Subaru radio. It's not like my Audi or like my STI, but for an everyday commuter car, I think this is going to be a good car. There's definitely a very good view angle from the front end. You can definitely see the road very well. You don't exactly see the hood or anything like that trying to block your point of view. And with the pillars being pretty small, it's definitely very easy to see in the tight blind spots. The headlights could use a little bit updating with them being old, but they still don't shine bright or anything like that. And it's just not very roomy. There's not much leg room. For the back seats, it's probably better, but for the front seats, I'm just not completely okay with it, I guess you could say. But other than that, you don't really hear too much outside noise. You don't really hear the engine too much, which is pretty good for it being a cheap car. I'm used to that quality being in my European and Italian cars. But on that note, it is pretty good. And the grips of the steering wheel, I don't exactly like, especially for the 9 and 3 in the bottom grips. It's just not me, and it's just not a very good grip. Now while I'm driving it, you push in the gas, it doesn't exactly go anywhere, but it isn't the boosted version. It's not the turbo model or anything like that. It's a pretty top-heavy car for a little 4-cylinder, but it gets its job done. It's Subaru. It's all-wheel drive. It's in the winter, it's going to go where you need it to go. So if you need a cheap winter car, Subarus would do you well. But in my experiences with the turbo models, when one thing goes wrong, everything will eventually go wrong. But yeah, so there's my review.